Hello! Today I'm going to be sharing one of my favorite scone recipes, my lemon blueberry thyme scones that are perfect for the spring. So we are going to start out with our dry ingredients, measuring out 2 cups of flour or 9 ounces. You most certainly don't have to weigh it out. Once again, it just is a little bit more precise. And then we're going to add in 6 tablespoons of sugar and 1 tablespoon of lemon zest, along with a half of a teaspoon of fresh thyme, and then 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder and a half teaspoon of salt. And we're just going to mix all of that together, and then we are going to work in our butter. 1/2 of a cup of very cold butter. It does not have to be frozen. That is preferable. You just want it to be cold enough that there will be little pockets of butter. That is what makes your scones more tender. And you want to be careful not to overwork the dough, just enough so that the butter forms crumbs with the flour mixture. And then we're going to pop that into the refrigerator while we put together our wet ingredients. Starting out with 1/2 a cup of heavy cream and 1 egg, as well as 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, which also equals 1/2 of a tablespoon. And then we're just going to whisk those all together until they are well incorporated, and then we are going to grab our flour and butter mixture out of the refrigerator so that we can drizzle our wet ingredients right on top. And along with the wet ingredients, we are also going to work in 1 cup of blueberries, either fresh or frozen, and this does get a little bit messy and sticky and you will have scone dough all over your hands, but one way to help with that is just to flour your hands before you start working the dough. And you also want to be careful not to work the dough too much, or else you will develop the gluten and they will become tough and they will lose that beautiful tender crumb that scones are known for. So now, after flouring our work surface, we are going to shape our scone dough into a 8-inch disc, which we are going to cut into 8 equal wedges. They don't have to be precise. And then we are going to place these onto a prepared baking sheet, making sure to place them about 2 to 3 inches apart because they do spread out quite a bit in the oven, and you want to make sure that your scones don't bake together. And then I brush them with some heavy cream, which makes them crispier and also allows for them to brown because of the fat that is in the heavy cream. Now, before we can bake these, we want to put these into the freezer for about 15 minutes, just to make sure that when we put them into the hot oven, the 400-degree oven, we don't want the butter to just run out everywhere. We want to make sure that the scones bake well and they bake best when the butter is cold. And then we are going to pop those into our 400-degree oven for 22 to 25 minutes until they are nicely golden brown and crisp around the edges. And then we're going to let them cool while we make our glaze. And that begins with a cup of powdered sugar and 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. And the glaze is optional. The scones are delicious just the way they are, but I do like adding it because that means that I can put on some lemon zest and thyme to really make them look nice. Definitely from a presentational standpoint, I love how the glaze looks, and it does help preserve some of the crunch for the scones because they will get soggy relatively quickly. They're best fresh out of the oven, as with most baked goods, but I do find that the glaze helps seal in that crispness and keep out the moisture. So you do want to put the glaze on while the scones are still a little bit warm, and then I put my glaze into either a piping bag or a Ziploc bag because I was out of piping bags, which you don't have to do. It's a little bit easier to control it. You can use a spoon just to drizzle it on top. It just gives a little bit more control. And then I do this sort of hashing pattern where I just try to cover the whole top not with too much glaze, but just enough that it will get in all the nooks and crannies. And then I just add on my extra lemon zest and fresh thyme for a nice garnish to finish it off. And there you are, a delicious tea time or breakfast treat that is great for the springtime and pretty easy to make. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss the next video, and as always, the recipe will be in the description below as well as on my blog, bakingwithbrie.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.